So hello everyone, my name is Megan. I work at Craftsmith. We are one of Michael's vendors, and for Craftsmith I do all kinds of things. I work with their samples mostly, and create kind of the initial samples that go out to stores, so I get to see all the goodies before anybody else. And what we're going to be doing today is a Christmas class, as if you couldn't tell from the Winter Wonderland or Christmas Wonderland I'm currently in, despite being in Southern California. You can craft along with me today if you want, or you can just watch this video to learn the techniques I'm going to show you. And it will be up on, I believe, Michael's YouTube in about 24 to 48 hours, so you can craft along with the video and kind of pause and do things if you'd rather do that. I do have some things prepped ahead today, so I'm going to be moving kind of quickly because I want to show you a couple different techniques. So if using that video on Michael's YouTube will be a really good resource later if you kind of get, if I get too far ahead of you, especially if you're crafting along with me today. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If I see them pop up as I am working today, I'll answer them, or my coworker Emily, if she sees them, she can answer them or ask me. And as always, what we make today, it can be super customized. We're making these two trees right here. So cone style Christmas trees are pretty popular. I see them all over. We're going to make this one here, which is kind of covered in a patchwork of circles. And then we're going to make this guy right here. Whoops, he had a tag along. We're going to make this guy right here, who is kind of, he's got a little more volume to him. He's a little more whimsical, a little bit more traditional too, in the sense of like he's got that 3D almost pine tree thing, but it's with a bunch of loops. And these are all paper that we are going to make them with. These are super easy to customize. So I'm actually going to show you two different colorways today, even though I used the red in class. Oh, and someone left our banner. This, we also made this for Michael's. You can go pick it up at a Michael's store. It's super cute. I love it. But I encourage you greatly as you make your own trees today, take this technique, customize it to whatever your Christmas decor is. I made these in the red and the white because I love a red and white Christmas. Red, white, and gold is kind of my Christmas color scheme. So the techniques I'm going to take and show you today is something that can be easily done and customized into whatever works for you. So if we can go ahead and switch to the overhead camera, I'm going to get you started. So the very first thing we need, I'm going to use a 12 by 12 sheet of just this chipboard. You can use poster board. You just want to get something that's got a little bit of heft to it. You don't want, let's see if I can make this a little bit less. Sorry, realize the angle is a little odd. I don't think I can flatten it too much, but I think you can see pretty well there. Okay, so you can use poster board for this. Like I said, I used a chipboard because it's what I had. This is not cardstock. Cardstock is going to be too flimsy. We are making the base for our trees out of this. So that is why it needs to have a little bit more weight to it. And I just chose chipboard, this lightweight chipboard, because it's what I had. But like I said, you can buy a sheet of poster board, cut it down to any size square you wish, and the technique I am going to show you will work. The technique I'm going to show you can be made at many different sizes. This is 12 by 12 because our paper pads are 12 by 12. And I think that's a good size. That gives you, you know, the tree. I think these trees end up being about 11 inches or so without the topper once they are put together. So to make our actual cone, we're going to start with a pencil or a pen and a piece of string and your square of either chipboard or poster board. Like I said, this is 12 inches. With the string, you want it to be no bigger than the length of whatever your square is. So in my case, my string is exactly 12 inches because what I'm going to do, I'm terrible at tying things to a pencil, so I'm going to tape it. You're going to take it, tape it to the tip of the pencil, And then I also take it, and this corner right here, we're gonna tape it to that. So you see, we're making kind of our own compass. So you see how it's not longer than my sheet? That is perfect. That's what I want. If my pencil was out here, I would have done this step incorrectly. But now what I'm gonna do, this securing it here means I'm gonna be able to draw a line that's gonna go pretty perfectly when I hold it taut from here to here to get kind of a quarter circle. So I'm gonna hold down my sheet so it doesn't move on me. If you want, you can tape down the corners so it doesn't move on you, but I think I can do this by just holding the sheet. I might prove myself wrong. And you're gonna start in this corner. Keep your pencil taut. Ah, it pulled out. So I need to try this again. I'll tape that in place so maybe I can hold my thread, my string a little bit better. Okay, try this again. I taped it more securely, which actually made it a little bit shorter. Wow, I am not doing this well right now. Everything is falling out on me. Okay, I'm gonna switch to what I used before, which was a pen. Maybe the tape holds better to this pen. You know, I always tell people that art is not about doing things perfectly. It's about just trying and practicing. And right now, that's all I'm doing is trying and practicing. All right, so I'm gonna hold both this time because this is really slippery today. All right, that time I got it. So for whatever reason, the tape held better to the pen than it would to the pencil. Okay, so you see I have my lovely kind of quarter circle here. If I literally had a giant square of paper and that was the center, I could have gone all the way around and make a circle. This is like an elementary school geometry hack, but it works for what we're crafting today. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull the tape off there, but I'm not gonna pull the tape off here because it doesn't matter, that's just a strap. Take your scissors, and you're gonna cut this out. If you want to make both trees, you're gonna need to make 2 cones. If you're only gonna make one of these trees, obviously you only need one. And again, you can do this smaller if you want a shorter tree. You can do this, you would just alter the length of your string and of your square. So like, for instance, if you made a 5-inch string, you'd only get a tree that's probably about like that big. But I wanted this nice big square or a big tree. And what we're gonna do is it's gonna end up like this. So we need to take this and get it to look like this. You can buy like florist cones and things like that, but I like being able to make a lot of my own things because then I can customize it. I'm just kind of pre-rolling the paper a little bit, so it'll fight me a little less in just a second. So this part we're gonna need hot glue for. I've just got the paper towel here to protect my surface of my table. So what we're gonna do, take your cone, and I swear to you, this is probably the hardest part of the project. This is a simple project, but this is the part that frustrates me. So it's okay if it frustrates you. And I kind of just start rolling it until I get it kind of to a nice place, and then it's easy to adjust. What I want to do, and it's going to be a little bit hard to tell on camera, is I want this to be as flat as possible. So you see I've got a little bump in it because the flatter it is, the less it's going to wobble when I make it. So, and also, like, if I wanted it to be a nice fat tree, I could expand it a little bit, but then I'm going to get a gap up there. I like kind of the look of the tall, skinny tree. So that's what I am attempting to do. And you're going to get some overlap here, as you should. See, we've got overlap there. I think I'm going to stop here. And it's okay if this doesn't perfectly close. That is totally fine. The other tool you might want to have on hand is a binder clip, if you can have that, because that will help you, once you get some hot glue here, be able to let go of the tree a little bit. So as you're holding it with one hand, like I said, this is the hardest part. Get your hot glue in here, and I'm just going to do a little bit right now. So that edge, so that I can put this down, hold it down, and then I'm going to use my binder clip so I can let go. So that will let me, since I have my binder clip holding things together there while the glue dries, that lets me get in here, squeeze in some more hot glue, and then I can go in and push this shut. Now, you shouldn't hopefully be burning yourself here because the chipboard or the poster board is thick enough that you're not going to get the full heat through here. But I mean, if some seeps out, you can get it on your fingers, so just be careful. But it is kind of thick enough that you can tell as you hold it, like once the hot glue starts to cool, you can let go. It doesn't have to be totally cool, but I mean, you can totally feel the difference of the heat when you first put it on versus when you when it starts to cool. And like I said, this helps a lot because keeping everything in place means it's not going to pop out. I also like to take just a little bit of tape in a few places and kind of reinforce my fold here, or my seam. I guess it's not fold. Just in case, it makes me feel better. I don't know if we really need it. And it's okay, like I said, to have the little gap at top. You're gonna get different gaps. Every time I've done this, I get a different gap. Like this one, I got a really tiny one. This one's bigger, but we're gonna cover it, so it's okay. All right, and I totally just realized I skipped a step, but that's okay. I can still make it work. So the first thing we're gonna do is our circle tree. The circle tree, I'm going to show you exactly like I did today, which means it is going to be out of this Peppermint stripe paper pad. This, I love this paper pad. Like I said, this is my Christmas color scheme. I love red and white. Mine has been used a lot already, so it's missing some pages, but I'll do a quick flip through for you. Like this is a super cute paper pad. Fix it. And there's more to it. It's missing a few pages that we're actually going to use today because I've used this in so many things. Okay. Correct. I'm a very organized crafter, so I have things in bags. So to show you the pages we are going to use today on our red tree, we've got this guy. If you want it to match mine, I used pretty much everything with gold. Because I have used this pad so much, I'm actually, you could use wrapping paper if you want to. That's going to be thinner. So I don't know if I would use hot glue with that because you might burn yourself through it. So you might have to play with your adhesive. You could use wrapping paper though, at least for this one. I don't know, the other tree needs a little more structure, so you might need the cardstock. But I used every sheet that has a gold to it because I want a little bit of shimmer. And then there's actually, along with red, white, and gold, there is a little bit of green and a little bit of a gray in this pad. I didn't want that. I just wanted red, white, and gold. So I was very careful. I selected sheets that only had red, white, and gold. I saw the question about what other materials you can use to make this. You could probably use ribbon on the other style of tree that I'm doing, but it's going to affect the look. So I don't know. Since I made it with cardstock, ribbon has less structure unless you use a wired ribbon. So I just don't know how that will end up looking. But it's totally something you could experiment with, or maybe using them together. These are my other 3 pages that we're going to use. I have crafted so much with these that I don't have samples to show you. But these are the other 3 pages we're going to use. So I literally chose anything that had just gold, red, and white. All right. And again, that's from this beautiful Peppermint stripe paper pad. I love this paper pad. I made so many things. Okay. The very first thing you're gonna do. So I wanted a lot of patterns to get my tree. If you look at this, there's just so much pattern goodness going on. It's the look I like. So in order to do that, I want a lot of pages. I think I used 6 or 8 pages. So I only used half a page of each. So that gives you a lot to craft with. So this was taken out of a 12-inch page. I sliced it in half, and I'm gonna make one more slice to this. I have to figure out how to unlock. Unlock this. How do I do this? There we go. Always engage the safety. I know how to disengage it. All right, so since this is half of a 12-inch page, it's 6 inches. I want to make one more cut. I want to make a 2-inch cut, or a 2-inch side and a 4-inch side. So I'm going to line this up with the 4. Okay. Now I have 2 pieces. Okay, and we need 2 cutters. I chose for my circles, I have a 2-inch cutter and a 1.5-inch cutter. If you want to do different circles, you totally can. These are just the sizes that I kind of liked the scale of with my size tree. So you can make them, if you want to cover less, go with larger circles. If you want an even more intricate look, go with a smaller circle. And I'm just going to punch. Sometimes I turn it over when I punch because it's a little bit easier to see this way. I'm just going to punch as many circles as I can of this. I'm sorry, this might be loud. You've got a little bit, like you can see here, where it's not going to be a perfect circle because I've got this like chip out of it. That's going to be fine because I can hide that. Okay, so that's all I'm going to get out of that one. And out of this one, like I said, I'm only using 2 size circles. You could use more, you could use less. This is really one of those things that, like I said, you can customize it to fit whatever you think looks cute for your scale of tree. And because of the miracle of television, I have already cut all of these gorgeous circles out of other patterns. You are probably going to have a lot left over if you use as many sheets as I did. But I like to prep ahead and do everything I can and not run out of materials. Whether I'm teaching you guys how to do this or crafting at home, nothing annoys me more than running out of what I need while I'm doing it. I like to just be in the zone. So I cut a lot ahead of time. But there are things you can do with these afterwards, which I'll tell you all about. I should have bagged these sizes separately. The only reason I'm really separating the sizes here is because I don't like to put a ton of the same size and pattern next to each other. So I like to kind of have them a little bit separated while I'm working, so that I can just reach between sizes. And I don't, this won't flip over. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use, for this tree, I'm going to use the one with the smaller hole just because at the top, just because I feel like it'll, in the long run, be a little bit easier with this style. Okay. I used hot glue for this because I really, really want to make sure these stick well. And you're just going to haphazardly put them however you want. I found that because I want these to be so flush, that when I was using other adhesives, that the edges would start to pop up a lot as I was doing it. So you're just gonna layer these however you want all over the entire tree. I'm gonna try to keep talking as I do this. I don't want to zoom out. But this is literally just where you can have some fun and just make a fun pattern. I kind of feel like I'm making Christmassy dragon scales, like as I go. It's just, you know, a lot of stuff on top of each other. And like this is one of these circles that has like the imperfect edge. So I can just make sure that edge gets hidden. And if you are crafting with hot glue today, just be careful. Especially if you're using a high heat hot glue gun like I am. You can see I'm, for a lot of these circles on the bottom row, I'm folding the edge over. So you can kind of see I'm not going to have a perfect like flush bottom, but it's still going to stand when I do that. And they're not perfectly flush to the cone, but they're not peeling up. Because like I said, I found when I used like a glue stick I tried for a while, it just kept peeling up. And I'm just too impatient to let liquid glue dry. So I tend not to use liquid glue. So this can feel a little bit monotonous, but it does go fairly quickly. I need to like spread these out a little bit more. You just got to keep going all the way up. I keep fishing through the patterns just because, like I said, I don't want all the same ones next to each other. It gets a little bit easier as you go higher. And a lot of that is just because you're running out of surface space as you go higher. The bottom row is obviously going to take many, many more circles than the very top of the tree. And so just fold the edges over at the bottom. These projects are nice because they can be really done by a variety of age and skill levels. If you are working with, like, if you want to make this a family project, everyone could make their own tree. Just, you know, work with the little guys if you're using hot glue, or maybe you guys can work together and like one person sticks things down. You'll figure it out. But like I said, this could be done by many ages and skill levels because you're really just repeating the same step over and over again. And that goes with both of the trees we're going to make today. Okay. Trying to speed my process up a little bit, because I want to show you everything. See, I didn't want to put that there because I just used that and it looks a little weird in my personal opinion when you put the same pattern next to each other. Maybe if I was using less patterns so that it happened more often, it wouldn't strike me as so odd. But since I am using like, I think between 6 and 8 pages, I think it looks weird when I have the same thing on top of each other. We will use, you can have them like near-ish each other, you can see. But I just don't like it when they're right on top of each other. Now I'm trying to overlap so that the white doesn't show through from the cone. But yeah, I drop things. But you don't have to overlap so much if you don't want to. You could even, I'm going to show you on the next one, I'm going to show you how to cover the cone. So that if you want to, you can just put a colored background on there and then not worry about little parts peeking through because it will match your color scheme. Not that the white doesn't match this color scheme, but you know what I'm saying. We're all crafters here. So do you all have like craft projects you have to make every year? I have a friend that has to make paper chains every single Christmas or it doesn't feel like Christmas. And I'm learning my sister-in-law loves anything that she can do with like fresh pine. Like she made a pine garland, she makes pine wreaths. I don't know how she does it. I'm not a floral person. Like me and plants just don't always mix. Let's go here. You could try using a styrofoam cone. I don't have a lot of experience with that. Like I said, if you use the styrofoam cone, you're going to be stuck using certain sizes. Making your own paper cone will allow you to customize which size you want. I also don't have experience knowing what type of adhesive to use with styrofoam foam or with styrofoam cones. So I wouldn't want to tell you to use hot glue and then find out that that would actually melt it. I don't know if it would. It might not. I just don't know. So you'll have to do a little bit of research if you want to use a styrofoam cone to figure out what adhesive works best. I probably make things more difficult for myself than I need to. I tend to try to make everything from scratch. I love making everything absolutely unique, which is both good and bad, as it can make things take longer, but it also means that I have something absolutely no one else has. So, I mean, you can see I've covered almost, if I was taking more time, I would make sure these were more flush than they are. But since I want to get to 2 projects today, I'm not. I'll show you my other tree that I was a little bit more patient on at the end again so that we can compare them. I love that striped one. I like candy cane stripes. Well, I got a little cookie shaped one. Yeah, if my sister-in-law lived closer, I would totally trade her to like make me, she was just learning how to make, I think it's like candied oranges and turn them into like garlands. Like I would totally trade her, like I will make you whatever you want out of my crafting and you can make me some of that cool, delicious smelling like floral Christmas crafts. Because that's the best part about her stuff. It's like fresh pine, fresh oranges or dried oranges, all that. It smells amazing in your house. We just have to make sure it's in a place that my cats could not eat it because they would probably try. Yeah, we have quite a few Christmas paper pads. So if red and white is not your Christmas vibe, I believe we even have a pastel Christmas paper pad. So you can find something that will work for what you want for Christmas to customize these trees. I'm going to show one other of our Christmas paper pads today. Oh, that one's popping up. So if you get like this where that's popping up as I go, I clearly didn't glue the edge well enough. Add a little more glue, just push it right back down. Like I said, with hot glue, you can feel when it is, ice drying is the right word, when it cools. So you kind of know when to let go. Like I said, if I wasn't trying to not keep you all here for 2 hours, because I will not do that to you, I would be going a little bit slower. As you see, like as I'm working too, I'm going to shift this tree around in every which direction in my hands. And I am kind of trying as I get a circle on there, I put my hand or my finger on it as I like move on to the next area. So that just kind of helps hold it down. But the more you glue on here, the more secure everything beneath it's going to get because they overlap. So the least secure area is always going to be whatever your top row is. And I love as I turn it that like all the bling starts to catch. That's really cool. I want this one. I could probably like make the this entire tree out of just the blingy circles because they're what I love the most. But I kind of like having the matte ones in there that don't have any shine to show the difference. Because it does really then just make the stuff that has metallic on it pop all the much more. If you wanted to be really, really particular about things, you could totally make this project about scale and use all of the larger circles at the bottom and then just slowly change your circle size to smaller on the way up. That would probably require a little bit of math to figure out how to make kind of a size gradient like that. But I think that would look really cool if someone wants to figure that out. I also think this tree would be a really cool kind of rainbow Christmas tree where you could do the stripes like that. I love this pattern. This pattern is just cute little glimmery gold snowflakes. This paper pad, I will not stop talking about it. It's my favorite. Might be my favorite one we've made. And I know we probably make a version of it every year, but I love it every year. So you see, I need less circles as I'm getting higher. I'm also going to use my hand more to grip the stuff as they dry, because the tighter your angle gets, the more these want to pop open as they dry. I am going to use small circles up around the top because that will be easier, but the large circles cover a lot of area and show off a ton of patterns, so that is really good for me to show you on camera. You can see now, whereas one circle only covered, this much down here, up here I'm wrapping it like halfway around the top. And obviously, if you're making this yourself, please slow down, go at a pace you like. Maybe have some hot cocoa while you're crafting, on some Christmas carols. Make an event of it. That's what Christmas is about. I always feel like I get not more enjoyment out of crafting and gifting at Christmas, but I feel like that's half of what I enjoy about Christmas. It's just all the Christmas decor I get to make. I also usually every year make all my own gift tags if I have enough time. So I've switched for this last portion here, which is probably on my tree. It's about the length of my index finger. So that's what, about 3 inches. I'm switching to using just the small circles, and I'm gonna keep my hand pretty much on top of those circles every time I lay them down. I also really, this is my personal preference, I want to use a lot of the shimmer ones at the top because I want to make sure we're going to get a nice glimmer at the top of the tree. And all of my circles would be stuck a little bit better if I was doing this process slower. The only reason that I can knock this out as quickly as I am, guys, don't feel bad if you can't go this quick, is because literally this is about my 3rd time making this tree, because I practiced and tried a bunch of different techniques as I was planning this class. So if this was the first time I was making this tree, it would not be going nearly as quick. Okay, so you see I got that wrapped almost totally around there, but it does leave a gap. You can leave that if you want and make it the back of your tree, or do what I'm gonna do, which is just take another one. Trying to look at my tree and see what patterns I got. I will use snowflakes. Now I'm gonna use my peppermints, even though it's not glimmering. And I'm gonna wrap it right there to make the top of my tree. We will make a tree topper for each of our trees. That's a super simple step, but we will do that at the end of class. Hot. See, I just got my own finger in the hot glue. All right. Okay. So that is my quickly made circle tree. You can see the one, like, these are kind of popping up a little bit. If I took more time, like I did with this guy, that wouldn't be happening because I'd just be a little bit more careful about my glue placement. And like, there's the bottom of my pre-made, the one I made the one I made before and the one I made quickly today. They both look pretty good. So like I said, just take your time a little bit and you'll get the nice flush circles like I have on this guy. Not that this guy is bad, just I can tell the difference as I look at him. See, like you can see those popping out versus the other. So I'm going to set that to the side. You have a ton of circles left over. I will show you what you can do with those at the end of class. I'm just going to push them aside for now. Move my paper cutter back over here. So the next thing we are going to do for our other tree, I'm going to use another paper pad. In the class project photo, I did them both out of the red, but I thought it would be really cool to use our Starry Night blue paper pad too, because this paper pad is gorgeous. I haven't used this paper pad as much, so pretty much all the pages are still here, except the ones that I pulled out for today. But it's kind of blue and gray and gold. I told you for my last tree, it was pretty strict. I only wanted to use red, white, and gold. I didn't want gray, I didn't want green, I only wanted red, white, and gold. So that's pretty similar for what I'm going to use from this pad. I'll show you the pages I'm going to use. But I only wanted to use, I think I chose dark blue, white, and the gold. So I'm using this page, which since you don't have a picture, I'm going to show these up class project photo. I'm going to show this off a little more. So this is just a cool kind of navy blue and gold star page. This page was just kind of reminiscent of a snowfall. It's white with some flecks on it. This is the navy blue and white snowflake page. Then I've got another kind of blue gradient brush strokey and gold page. And this like blue and white mistletoe page. And then from the other pad, because I want more gold, I'm using these two pages as well. Okay. Okay. So just like before, because I want lots and lots of patterns, you're going to take a 12-inch page if you're using a 12-inch pad and cut it down half size. So this is a 6-inch strip. Now I want to make 1-inch strips. These line up really, really symmetrically as which makes sense. Oh, this paper cutter is one of the paper cutter I have downstairs does not have a 1-inch mark. So I kept having to eyeball when I was prepping. All right, same thing, 1-inch strips. So you're gonna end up with a bunch of strips that are 1-inch by 6-inch. And just like before, I prepped a bunch of these ahead of time, so you won't be able to craft as quickly as I am today. But it's the technique you're learning that matters. And this video will be available to you later. Watch your fingers as you get close to the edge of the paper cutter. Okay, I think I'm done with that. Okay, so you end up with these. The first step you want to do with these is take your hot glue, put a dab there, and we're going to make a little loop. Okay. And repeat that for as many strips as you want. I think again I used about 6 pages or so, maybe 8, to get all the patterns that I wanted, because I like making a hodgepodge of patterns. If you don't want to glue all of these ahead of time like I am, you don't have to, because you are going to have extras. That just means you'll have to stop, as you go, do this step and then do attaching them to the tree. I wanted to just have a bunch of things ahead of time that I could just pop on the tree for you today. but not gluing them together like this, all of them at least in advance, maybe do about half of them, will give you options, more options of what to do with your scraps afterwards. Because again, you'll have extra. Because how many of these you need will completely depend on the geometry, the size and shape of your cone. And I always work for both of my tree styles. I work from the bottom up. I just personally find that easier. You could work the other direction from the top down, but especially on this tree, my dimensional tree, that gets a little bit more difficult because you're going to end up like having to shove things up underneath. I'm only going to do a few more of these, and then I'm just going to jump in to showing you. Yeah, maybe I'll do them all. They go pretty quick. My hot glue gun keeps migrating away from me, which is totally my fault. So does anyone else just have like an impatience with glues like I do? It's the reason I think I use hot glue with like everything, because it just works so darn quickly. I don't like, maybe I'm just an impatient person in general. I don't like waiting for things to dry. I use on occasion, I do use a E6000 with certain things too, because I used to work in a Color Me Mine ceramic store. And while it's not dishwasher safe, E6000 is the bomb for gluing ceramics back together. So like, if you've got a mug that the handle fell off, reattach it with some E6000 and then just hand wash that thing. But yeah, hot glue. Hot glue is where it's at for me. Glue sticks are messy in my opinion. They work, but they're messy. Ooh, Gorilla Glue. I haven't used Gorilla hot glue sticks. We use their spray adhesive a lot, which I love Gorilla spray adhesive, but it is a little messy and I get it all over my hands because I'm also the creative person that can't be bothered to wear gloves. That's just who I am as a human. I've accepted it. All right, so I've got those prepped. Like I said, if you don't want to prep everything, you don't have to. We'll give you more options of what to do with the scraps. That's a fun feeling, just dumping out my whole bag of prep. So you can see all the patterns I have and already how cool they're going to work together. So I'm going to take my other tree. I'm forgetting this step. I want to cover this cone, like I mentioned earlier. So I saved this because I need a stencil of sorts, and I'm going to find a cool pattern. Ooh, maybe I'll use that one. I'm going to use this guy. Whenever you are going to draw something on a patterned sheet or even a colored sheet, I always recommend that you figure out what the reverse is. In this case, it's nice because our reverse is white. So it's really easy to figure out what the reverse is. But that way, when you draw, you are not going to, you are not going to ruin your pattern or your good side. If you do, like, remember when I drew this and I kept messing up? Yeah. So I'm going to use this as a stencil because this is the one I made. And I want this to fit perfectly over it. So I'm just drawing that shape, which I don't need to pull out my string again because I have this. Drawing my shape onto the back side. And let's cut it out. I'm also super obsessed. I realized whenever I paper craft, I love to find crafts to do with my scraps. So if you have any cool crafts that you make with your scraps, I totally want to see them, which I can't remember if I mentioned. If you make our projects today, please tag us at Craftsmith Co. so that we can see what you do, because I would absolutely love to see what you make. and especially if you make any changes, like I want to see how you made this yours. Okay, so I'm going to line my cone up. You can't see super well because it's a white table and this is a white cone and that whole jazz. But I'm going to put my tip in the corner up here and I'm going to try to line the bottom up with there. I've got some double-sided tape. And I'll probably just go ahead and put some double stick on the cone as well. And just kind of very neatly. And it's okay if this doesn't cover perfectly, because we're going to put stuff on top of it. But you can see I've got it partway there. I'm just randomly putting tape down. There's really no rhyme or reason to this. Maybe I could just roll it now. If you have any sticking out like that, you can fold it over or cut it off, because again, we want this to be flush. I'm just going to cut it off, because anything that is not flush with the surface, the table, is going to be wobbly. And while these are not breakable, we still want them to like stand up. Okay. So therefore, I've now covered my tree for the most part. I didn't cover all of it. That way, little space is going to be left here as we do this. It won't show. Okay. So my loops, since this was a 6-inch strip, my loops are about 3 inches, give or take. So I'm going to start lining these up. I don't want to put it flush at the bottom. I'm going to go maybe, I tend to use my fingers to measure, maybe about to my first knuckle or so is where I'm going to glue that on. So you can do your own math, but I think that's about an inch, inch and a half above the bottom of our tree. Just put a little bit of hot glue on your strip. And we've got our first one on. Just like before. Vary which patterns you're going to use. And just start going. Make them touch. They don't have to be flush like here, but I like to make the tops flush. You see why I covered the tree? Because see, you can see a little bit. I didn't want that white to show, because while the white may match, I'm just not the biggest fan of letting the base material of anything I do ship through. I always like everything to look purposeful. And it's okay if you don't get these perfectly in a line. You don't have to. I already used that one. You're gonna kind of play with this, your pattern, your height, your placement as you go. And you could also still do this with either bigger or smaller strips. Sometimes I'm turning these around because like, I don't want this side to be on the outside because I didn't line the top perfectly up there. But if I flip it this way, you can't see any of that white. So sometimes when I'm staring at the strips for a little bit, that's what I'm doing, is I'm looking to see which side looks better. And this, especially if you're using cardstock, I highly, highly, highly recommend the hot glue, because when I sit this up, there's going to be a lot of pressure on these, especially the bottom rows, because it's hanging over here. It's not going to sit on these. It's going to sit on the cone and pop those out. So you do want to make sure that the adhesive you're using is really secure. And this method of putting these on is really, really why I want to start at the bottom and go up, because otherwise I would be shoving each one of these under like another layer to get the volume to work properly, and that's just going to be annoying. If you wanted to do different size loops, you can, depending on the weight and thickness of the paper, or I know someone mentioned like ribbon. You might want to experiment with that a little bit, because the length is going to affect how much, not buoyancy, but volume you get. So it's trial and error. That's why I've actually made these projects, I said like 3 or 4 times now, because the first couple times, like the first one was so ugly because I just made it out of random scrap paper because I was just testing and seeing what to do. Okay, I'm gonna put some space, probably another inch, inch and a half between these rows when I put down the next one, just to give it a different look. If you want a really thick, voluminous tree, you can put these super close together. That's going to give you even more kind of weight and heft to these. I'm going to see what it looks like to do about an inch, inch and a half difference. And just like before, as your tree gets smaller, going up, you're going to use less strips. So don't be shocked if all of a sudden you feel like you're not using enough. And again, you're going to get some space between these, which is why I highly recommend covering your tree. Or conversely, if you find a really nice poster board that you cut into a square to make your base, you could totally just, like, if it's a colored poster board or a pattern paper poster board, just use that. But I just, woo, almost glued that to the table. But I just found my white lightweight chipboard just kind of looked like cardboard, and that was not cute. Wow, I'm a little bit clumsy today. I either haven't had enough coffee or I've had too much. My guess is going to be that I have not had enough. You can see we're already getting like a decent amount of volume from this. So when I sit this down and these pop out, we're going to get a really cool look. Can the strips be staggered? I haven't tried that. That might be fun because I'm assuming what you mean is like, do they have to be in a row like this, or can they be kind of offset? That might be fun. I don't know, because one of the reasons I'm doing this is you get a really even like push out when you put it down, because you know there's something directly underneath of it pushing it out. If you stagger it, I don't know if you're going to get as much of that, but it could be fun to try. So what I would do if I were going to try that, because I like to sample things before I actually do it, probably just get, you know, a scrap of something, or even like, this sounds stupid, but like the side of a cereal box so it'll stand up, and try it on that and then stand it up and see what happens when gravity pushes these out. Because that's really the benefit of this technique, is that you are going to get the weight of everything helping push your paper out and give you even more volume than the paper gives you. Yeah, but that could be really cool. And if you do make it, like tag us on Facebook or Instagram. I want to see. Because I did, whoops, I put it too close. You can, if you want tons of volume too, put these really close together. But I think I did more volume for my other tree, my red tree, that I did this style. So I kind of want to see what's going to happen when I make them a little bit more spread out. Like I said, that is what I like about this tree, is just you get like a poof volume. And so far I'm loving this blue color scheme. This is really cool. Blue is not always my vibe. This is gonna sound silly, but my mom growing up, like even now, everything's blue. So I've always just kind of like, her house is blue, her couch is blue, like at one point her carpet was blue. Like she loves blue in all shades. We had a bright blue house growing up. So I've just never really done as much in blue because it just reminds me of my childhood, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But, you know, when you're around one color all the time, you just branch out and try other things. So. I find that funny because she mentions that she dislikes green. And I don't dislike blue, but she dislikes green, especially olive green, because I guess growing up, her mother was obsessed with, you know, in like the 50s and 60s with olive green, and to the point that she even had a olive green refrigerator. And I was like, Mom, you did the same thing, except we have a white refrigerator because they don't make pastel blue refrigerators anymore. There's going to be some rows where you get the gap like this, where it's just not quite big enough for one of these. I put it on anyway. You're just going to overlap. I'm going to use a sparkly guy. When in doubt, add more sparkle. As you get higher, you're going to have to manipulate them a little more, like pinch them with your fingers to get them to go on some of these curves. So just keep an eye on that as you go up. And again, I'm placing these about an inch, probably more accurately to say an inch and a half apart. I used to worry more, like I didn't want to line these up like on top of each other as I went. And then I realized because the volume of the tree goes down, it kind of happens naturally, even when I attempt to not. So I stopped fighting it and I just put them down now. I don't try to make a specific, you know, row where things don't line up on top of each other. The only thing I try to concentrate on is getting this row as straight as I can, this top edge, so that I don't end up with like a sloping tree. I almost put that there, but it's right beneath it. And so you see, I don't like putting the same thing next to each other when I can help it. Sometimes you can't help it. And especially because I'm being very specific about the colors and the tones I introduce. There's some lighter blues in this pad, and I just, as pretty as those are, I wanted to keep this like a really dark, like midnight tree, partially so that my pops of white would pop really well. Because I just found that the more light colors I introduced, especially because most of my whites have my shimmer, that my white was just fading out and you couldn't really see it anymore, or like not as vibrantly. And I love contrast, so I love the dark blue with the bright white. I just put that pattern down, so let's grab this one. So to each crafter, obviously, you've got your own craft vibe. I almost made this and this in this color scheme and the other tree in the red color scheme at the same time. And then I suddenly realized that that looked a little bit like Christmas in July. So that's why I ended up making both of them out of the red pad. Because that just felt more Christmassy to me versus like we're celebrating Christmas in the middle of the summer. But if that's your vibe, go for it. You could totally mix the red, white, and blue together. It might give it a little bit more of an Americana vibe versus a Christmas vibe. But it's a look, and if you can rock that, totally rock that. This would also work really well. That's not the same pattern, okay. This would also work really well. Probably if you could just get a bunch of like different tones, like tonal whites or like greens, or if we still have our jewel tone glitter pad at Michael's, like just make this all out of glitter and it would be amazing. Our glitter pads that Craftsmith makes are awesome. I'm always topping them up. The glitter does not transfer, it does not fall off. So I totally recommend are glitter pads. I've used other glitter pads and they're good. But I always end up with glitter a lot of places, but the ones that we have made are amazing. And I love crafting with them because I don't end up with glitter all over my entire workstation. I don't want to put two white glimmery ones next to each other. Let's use this guy. You can already tell, it may not come off on camera, but this tree does have a little bit less volume than my last tree that I made, my red and white one with this technique. So that's going to be fun for me to see. I'm really interested to see if you guys choose to go like full on poof tree, you know, give it a ton of volume, or if you go a little bit lighter on the volume. And this does tree, I'll show you after we finish everything, I'll show you again on the front facing camera. So you can really see how much volume these guys have when there's, you know, gravity is affecting them versus the way I'm currently holding them. So I'm getting to that point where I kind of have to pinch my strips first to get them a little bit curved at top, just so they can go better around this as it goes. Try not to fold it, because if you fold it, you're going to start to affect the volume in there, since this is paper. We don't want to put a crease in if we don't have to. You may also need to start overlapping your tips a little bit, your tops, but it just depends how quickly your angle gets small up here. And just like before, I want to try starting using as much of the shiny stuff as I can towards the top. Not that I've been shying away from it yet. I did notice I'm getting like a gap here where you can see a lot of the blue, and I know some of that will go away, but I'm trying to position this so it does kind of start to cover a little bit. I glued my finger to the tree a little bit there. That is why I am terrified of using super glue, because I'm pretty sure I will glue myself to everything if I ever try. Oh, I forgot to bend this beforehand, so we're just gonna do it as we go. I've used a lot of shimmer. Let's go ahead and use this guy. Bend it. I'm not super bending it. You can see I'm just kind of putting my finger there and then squeezing it around my finger, which then helps when I get it down here, because it's already curved. I can just kind of push it in. I've got hot glue on my fingers. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to be a lot more careful about my placement. I might go a little bit thicker just because, and a little bit closer together, is I want to make sure I'm not going to get weird gaps at the top of this tree. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put it closer together. This is more like probably 3/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, so that I can close that gap. But I've only got, you know, 2 inches of tree left. So that's why I'm changing my technique just a little bit, or my rows. And you may have to hold these a little bit longer too, so that they stick on the curve, which is totally fine. But the flatter areas, because they're bigger volume wise, you don't have to hold down as long. But if you think about it, we're even gluing 2 layers of paper onto a curve that's basically the size of, or width of my thumb, maybe a little bit wider, but towards the top it's not. I've got both of those right there, so I don't really want to use another white. Let's use my snowflakes. And here's really these last places where I'm going to overlap a lot versus giving them plenty of space. So let's overlap here. And then that gives me room for one more there. Where's my, I'm getting really nitpicky about color, because see how much like white is right here. So I think I want to use a dark blue, but I want a glimmer. Let's use this guy. I'm also being a little bit messier about how my top row lines up. Oh, this guy, I didn't realize he got smished. Oh well. Okay, this is probably going to be my last row. We'll see if my guess is accurate or not, but it feels like I should probably just put a few right at the top here. And it's okay not to totally cover the tip, but definitely manipulate this so you can curve it more, because that's a really tight curve up here. And you want to manipulate it as much as you can before you put the hot glue on so you don't burn yourself. Sometimes I will, towards the top, kind of crimp them as I go to kind of make them pop back up. Because I do think a little bit, as I put things on, the curve towards the top flattens a little bit. Okay, there's a ton of blue here, so I'm going to go ahead and use my white. See, it just kind of like starts to flatten, so push it back up. Yeah, this one doesn't want to stick. I'm gonna use some extra glue. I think it'll help when I get the next piece on there. You can cut thinner strips if you want to. I just liked the look of the 1 inch. If you cut thinner strips, I don't know if you want them as long, because it might just start to look a little bit stringy, if that makes sense. I found that the 6-inch 6x1 strip and then folded in half gave me a nice amount of just like volume and thickness. If I made this thinner, I just don't know if being this long would make it look too thin. But again, that's something you can have fun and play with. Oh my goodness, my top row, I'm gonna have to do like this because it just wants to pop off. So I think it's fighting me. Ooh, put my finger right in the hot glue. I do not recommend you do that. Okay. I'm holding this. This top row has always been the hardest on every version of this tree I've made. So just be aware of that because it's so thin. So yes, you could, like, even if you just wanted to taper your strips as you went up, you could make the top strips probably a little bit smaller and you'd be okay. After I get these on, I think I'm going to go back and touch this top row up with some more hot glue. I'm concentrating, which is why I suddenly feel so quiet. Okay. This just snowflake one just wants to pop off so bad. The other ones are okay. The snowflake pattern right here just wants to come off. Okay. I think that will stay. Okay. So you can see I've got like a decent amount of volume here. I do have significantly, I think, less volume than I did here. So I placed my strips much closer together than on the red tree than I did on the blue. I think, yeah, I don't think you can really tell here, but my strips were basically on top of each other for this tree. So that's why I got so much more volume, whereas I placed them about an inch apart each row on this tree. All right, so one more step to finish our trees, which is super simple. And you see I've still got leftovers. So I'm not gonna show you how to make these simple projects, but I'm gonna show you 2 simple projects I did with my scraps after the class. All right, I've got, there it is. I've got one more paper pad from Christmas. This is our 6x6 Christmas shimmer pad. This paper pad is cool because it's not a glitter. So it's just kind of a subtle pearlescence to like each color. So you can see, like, it's just really cool. I say that word a lot. I should come up with another word. But yeah, like I love this color. It's so pretty. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. seem to have misplaced. Here we go. I have this cool snowflake punch. That's what I'm going to use. You can use a star. You could use another shape. You can leave the trees like this if you want to. You could get super creative and make your own even more gorgeous tree topper. Mine are just simplistic. I'm going to use this star punch. And I think actually today, I'm debating, before I used this sheet, the white sheet for each, which I think I'm still going to do for my red and white tree. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not even going to take it out. I'm just going to literally punch it right here. Because why pull the paper out and have to keep it in my scrap pile? It's my punch is stuck. That is the problem with this punch, is sometimes because it's so intricate, it gets stuck. So I've got my shimmery pearl white snowflake, which I'm going to use in my red and white tree. I'm debating, do I want that for this? Or do I want this? Oh, that might be too pastel. Ooh, but there is one other one. I do a lot of debating. Ooh, I think I want this one. So this is the silver page. So I'm going to use my silver color snowflake for my blue tree. Again. Okay. All right. So I have a white snowflake and a silvery snowflake, which on camera comes out more gray. What I'm going to use today, these are drink stirrers because it's what I had. We have a break room downstairs. There's coffee stirrers. But you can use whatever you have. You can use toothpicks. You can use, popsicle sticks if you make candy, or candy sticks if you are a candy maker or a baker. I'm just going to use these because it's easy. So take whatever stick-like object you have. If you're using the shimmer pad, use the opposite side, which is the side without the shimmer, and just put a little bead of hot glue, little stripe, right in, you can't really see it, I'm sorry, but right in the center there, so that you can take your stick about halfway and just secure it so it looks like you have a little fairy wand. So we're going to do that with each color. The white one is harder to figure out which the wrong side is, but just remember, if you're using the shimmer pad, the shimmer side is the right side. Okay, so I have my two little snowflake wands. And remember how I said it didn't matter that there was a hole at the top of the tree? That's because we're going to put a topper in it. So decide which way you want the front of your tree to be. I think I actually, so as I'm turning mine around, I think I actually want there. Yeah, there to be the front of my tree. Because we're going to make sure that this nice little shimmery snowflake faces the front of the tree. So I'm just going to put some hot glue around this top portion. It's going to fall in, don't worry about that. But this is also going to stick. Right there. Oops, I squeezed it a little bit. Okay. So I've got my shimmer snowflake there. And my white snowflake here. Again, I'm going to choose my front. Ooh, I think this is it. I like how much shimmer is there. So I filled the top with hot glue. Get it in before it dries. There we go. And let gravity finally help me, which was wise. And there we go. All right, so I was going to show you what I did with my scraps. I'll show off my trees again in a second because we have tons of scraps here. So things you can do. I went ahead and used my circle scraps to make another garland. I thought about just using them as confetti, but this was super easy to just hot glue to a string. And now I had a nice, cool little garland to make. So if you're like me and you make a ton of extra pieces, you've got that. I also, I'm ruining Emily's lovely backdrop a little bit. I also, if you don't glue all of these in a teardrop shape, you can make a paper chain out of your leftovers. Like I said, paper chains are super Christmassy. I love paper chains. So you can totally make a paper chain out of that. So if we can go ahead and switch back to the front facing camera. Once we're back on the front, I'll show. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can kind of see what I mean when I say like gravity over time will help this guy sit down a little bit more too. But like he just gets a little bit more volume when his weight goes right there. And if you use more strips like this guy, because you can really see the difference when I put them side by side. Like using more strips is going to give you a big chunky tree. Using, you know, less like I did today, it's just he's going to be a little bit more petite, a little bit more. It's just a different look, but they're both really cute, and you can see like the difference too in my white versus gray really there. And like, yeah, so those are our trees. I hope you guys had a great time today. Do we have any questions before we end today? If you do, drop them in the chat. These techniques can be super customized. Do them in whatever colors you want. Play with the technique. I loved some of the suggestions you guys threw out in the chat today. That's going to be really fun to see what you do. And so our Instagram is Craftsmith Co. So Craftsmith Co. You can reach me and Emily, my friend in the chat there. Just tag us and we will be able to see whatever you make. And again, this will be on YouTube either in the next 24 to 48 hours. So if you need to watch back what I did, you can totally go there. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can message Emily on Facebook or Instagram, again, at Craftsmith Co. And we can answer them there as well. But this is everything. If you guys don't have any questions, I hope you have a great holiday season and a happy new year. I will be back again at some point in the new year to do another class. I haven't quite planned yet. And I'm sure have more coming up. But yeah, thank you for everything today, you guys. Merry Christmas and see you later.